How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slap Tam. Today we're looking at the scariest things garbage men have encountered on their routes. But before we do, remember to hit that subscribe button for more creepy content just like this.
According to one former sanitation department supervisor, his team only discovered that they had picked up something disturbing when the back of their truck suddenly burst into flames. Although the fire department was able to extinguish the fire, the garbage men were in a panic, having no idea what caused the sudden explosion. When police arrived on the scene, the trash collectors quickly had their answer. The owner of the home where the truck was currently parked was a suspected meth lab. Evidently, the owner of the home had tossed some of his materials into the trash, and they had combusted when the truck compacted the trash bag. The man had the audacity to watch the entire spectacle from the front porch of his house, before being promptly arrested. This story from a sanitation worker takes place inside a recycling plant. According to the worker who shared this story, many people toss things into their recycling bins that can't actually be recycled, so it was their job to sort through the items and toss out any trash. It was mostly a routine job, but one day they came across something truly frightening, a live hand grenade. Because the grenade had not been detonated, it was a serious and frightening threat. The recycling plant had to call in a bomb squad to handle the situation. They ended up taking the grenade to the nearby landfill so they could safely detonate it. As a result, refuse exploded into the air, causing a horrible smell that lingered for weeks. Some memories are just too painful to keep around. According to one refuse worker, finding these memories tossed in the trash can be both heartbreaking and frightening. He states that while collecting trash one day, he and his partners came across a huge cache of photos that appeared to have been taken during the war in Iraq. Some of the pictures were gruesome, depicting the dead bodies of his fellow soldiers. The photos were accompanied by a variety of other items, including the man's army boots and souvenirs from the Middle East. The garbage bin also contained hundreds of empty alcohol bottles. The garbage men were conflicted about this find. Had the man tossed the items to distance himself from the painful memories, or was there a more tragic reason that the items had ended up in the trash? Regardless of the reason, the trash collectors who found the collection were haunted by it for decades. Have you ever been in a hospital room and noticed the clearly marked biohazard waste disposal bins? Hospital staff members are supposed to place any items that could be considered hazardous in these containers, so that they can be properly disposed of in a way that is safe and sanitary. However, according to one garbage man who worked in Georgia, things didn't always happen as they should have. According to him, he and his co-workers who picked up trash from local hospitals regularly found biohazard waste mixed in with regular garbage that the hospitals threw away. Most likely this happened because hospitals are required to pay fees to properly dispose of biohazard waste. To avoid these fees, some hospitals apparently decided to sneak hazardous materials into the regular trash bins. The worker who shared this story said that the discoveries were particularly frightening because it was quite likely that many other hospitals were doing the same thing without ever getting caught. Veterinary officers have trash collectors too. Typically, however, they don't use this service to dispose of dead animals. According to one garbage man, he unfortunately witnessed an exception to this rule. The trash collectors were doing their usual route, which included a veterinarian's office. The men were shocked to see that the staff of the office had left a dead horse on top of the dumpster. They quickly decided that they wouldn't take the horse along with the trash. The following week, however, the horse was still there, this time inside of the dumpster. The garbage men decided that since it was inside, they had to take it. It was a disgusting sight, as a week in the alleyway had made the horse a disgusting, bloated mess. Still, they placed it in the trunk and turned on the compactor. This turned out to be a major mistake. The pressure of the compactor caused the horse to explode, sending bits of decaying viscera flying through the air. Anytime two parties go to war, one of the major concerns is how troops should communicate so that the enemy won't discover their secrets. To this end, German officials in the Nazi regime during World War II developed a device called the Enigma machine, a device that could effectively encode messages so that they could be transmitted safely and securely. These machines were an important part of the Nazis' war effort and were closely guarded by high-ranking members of the party. Surprisingly, one refuse worker who shared his story claims to have discovered one of these machines in the trash. This was an exciting find, as such machines are now bought by collectors for thousands of dollars, but the discovery was truly eerie. Who would own the machine before disposing of it in the trash decades after such devices were in use? Why did they suddenly decide to get rid of it in this fashion? Those who found the machine were haunted by the implications of their discovery. A story told by a Reddit user who had a summer job at a landfill began innocently enough. An expensive black Cadillac with tinted windows and pricey rims pulled up to the landfill one day, and the driver began speaking to one of the machine operators. The man asked if the machine operator could dig a hole for the man to dispose of an item he wanted to get rid of. The operator was reluctant to fulfill this request, and instead suggested that the man dispose of his item in the pit where the garbage men placed the dead animals that they found. The man agreed and went to toss his item into the pit. The sanitation workers were suspicious because of the man's odd request, so they went to the pit after he left to see what he had thrown in, worried that it might have been a dead body. The man hadn't disposed of a murder victim, but his item was certainly disturbing. An old family photo album with a large knife protruding from it. No one ever found out the story behind the album, but everyone who saw it remembers it as one of the eeriest things they've ever seen. One sanitation worker from New York City stated that he's seen a lot of disturbing things in his line of work, but one particular find stands out as truly frightening. He stated that he was called out to a particular location to pick up something one day. When he and his partner arrived and saw what they were supposed to dispose of, he was sickened by the sight. High up in a tree, he saw approximately 75 dead, bloody rats tied together in a massive ball. It was so large that they had to call the fire department to climb up with ladders and cut the branches from the tree. The garbage man who shared this story says that when the ball of rats hit the ground, it released a smell so foul that it sickened everyone in the area. The police who were on the scene theorized that whoever had placed the tied together rodents in the tree had likely done it as some sort of twisted religious rite, sacrificing the animals to their deity. Regardless of the cause, it was certainly a disturbing discovery. Before we get to that number one spot and take a look at a story about a truly terrifying suitcase, remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on channel notifications. That way you'll be notified about all our latest content. A Reddit user whose father worked at a landfill in Florida shared the most frightening story that his father had ever told about his time as a garbage man. According to him, his father was helping to sort trash at a local landfill when he came across a nice looking suitcase. The suitcase was open and there was nothing inside of it. However, attached to the handle of the suitcase was a locked pair of handcuffs. At the other end of the handcuffs was a severed human hand. No one ever found out what had been in the suitcase, but the implications of this discovery are truly terrifying.
If you want to check out more of our content, then there's a video there for you. Otherwise, there's a creepy playlist there you can binge on for hours. Leave a comment down below or hit that thumbs up button because it lets us know you're enjoying the content. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time.